Hello YouTube! As promised, today I'm showing my rule level 200 monstrosity I've made. It's basically a quality build with some int and faith to use more weapons, 54 strength, 80 dex and 24 faith to be more precise. I should clarify right this instant that no, I don't feel bad about using it at all. Rule level 200 is a wild card, and I've been getting enough into infinite blenders. I noticed Bill is AFK in the corner, so it had to be disposed of quickly. Don't ask me what that preheat was, because I don't know. You can see how good Sleep Pot is, even without any arcane investment. That phantom ended up just dying in his sleep. I've actually never used them before, so I didn't expect being able to craft 20 of them. I thought it was ritual pots. Now that host is alone, I generally swap to some other setup. Hand of Malenia does good physical damage at 80 dex, and watch how this host ended up. Sleep makes you drowsy for this long, enabling many true combos. So all we need for this build to kill someone is just 2-3 seconds. Like the case in this invasion, I'm actually glad I'm off to the next one, as I know there's nothing fun that could possibly have happened in this invasion. Sacred Relic Sword, Moog Spear and a Moon Veil. Get me out of here. I've never had an invasion in this part of profile before. Understandably nobody wants to fight 5 Revenants. A nasty hitstun blender here, saved by Tears of Denial. It seems like diminished hitstun thing from Dark Souls 3 acts up with passive poise, so that's certainly annoying. A blue shows up because of course they need one, but he's the least threat here. Moon Veil does hinder my game plan and even turn and burns with heals, so I got to do something else. Sword of Saint Trina is 3rd shortest straight sword. Most of the damage it does is physical, with only 70 magic, so you don't need to level int above the weapon base requirement. It has 65 innate sleep build-up, or 130 when paired, without buff. This means that you can sleep your opponent in 3 or 4 hits, depending on whether they use Clarifying Horn Charm. Pairing it with sleep pots makes it more dangerous. You don't even need to hit him per se, as a phantom hit is enough to build up sleep, making this weapon absolutely devastating at a higher latency. When you manage to proc sleep on someone, you can punish it with L1, simultaneously dealing large damage and building up sleep for next proc. You can also hard swap to another weapon, like Stormhawk Axe, to inflict damage as well. Let me talk about this phantom. He is named Noob and wears Radan set, but I respect him. Unlike his host, he uses whole weapon moveset and does a good job protecting him. So award of a hero of this invasion goes to a phantom. Normally I'm a stranger to super optimized meta builds, but here I actually relish it, simply because I want that fuck you stick. Additional use of sleep is draining someone's FP. It doesn't do much against transient moonlight, as it doesn't cost anything, but I've definitely made few wizards shut up, almost like a discount vow of silence. I was talking about this setup I use, and naturally one of the counters is a katana. You just have to play a bit more passive and punish that jumping attack with Unsheath. Generally you just exploit very poor engage moves, therefore katanas and vertical R1 halberds are good at shutting power stance straight swords down, because it has nothing but jump attack as a somewhat viable engaging tool. Either way, I do not appreciate this host pressing only one button, so he didn't really deserve any cool fight. I want someone to rip the game out of his hands, so he never gets to play it again. But GG's to a phantom. This is probably the only invasion where I generally felt bad about using this setup, as this phantom didn't do anything annoying, and I want to put yet in brackets. You see that really fast L1 combo works like a charm though. I don't think passive poise matters for that. This is possibly first time ever I see someone using Law of Regression on me, so that's kinda cool. I should put it on my in build, so I can remove people's Flask of Wondrous Physic and the Barrier of Gold. Other subtle detail that is less cool, hosts have swapped from Sacred Relic Sword to a Moonveil, but that just shows wild or level 200 builds. A neat interaction happened in this invasion, and I'm all for those. So I've invited this guy, named Miquelan Paladin, and my character's name is a Hand of Miquela, which makes us fellows. I could say go to the arena, but they are not ruined, and level 200 arena has been kinda slow lately, from my personal experience. This is not PlayStation after all. They didn't really deserve Sleepy Sword's treatment, so I swapped to Hand of Malenia. It had some potential, but weapon art can be interrupted with enough poise damage, unlike cheating boss fight. You can parry it in PvP though, but it may be bugged, because sometimes just nothing happens. This katana does around 40 more damage than Naga Kiba with my 80 dex, and Ash of War is really strong with Millicent's prosthesis. I use an Iron Jar Aromatic as a meme. It's a risky move as they buff their weapon with lightning. In returns, I won't get interrupted. That one missed parry does cost everything. Nice spawn in Celia Crystal Tunnel. Even at level 200 those two dudes didn't learn anything and died in their sleep peacefully. Giving this host an absolute hell for a bit. Gankers pay the price, so to speak. I believe that's double wing of Astel that I've mistaken for something else. So I wonder if this is a genuine New Game Plus. So in 107 power stance status build-up was nerfed a bit. Most motion value modifiers for power stance attacks were changed, from 90 build-up on each weapon to 65. Combined, it's still 30% higher than using a single weapon, but we did get 27% decrease in status build-up. In case with Sleep and Madness, procs through rolls are definitely obnoxious. Makes me wonder why they changed it in Dark Souls 2, the best game during its lifespan, but not anywhere else. There's a short backstory for this invasion. I already invaded them a few times, and so host turns off Taunter's Tongue after killing one invader. So I entered a no mercy mode. On top of that, they have that spicy latency spikes. I've got a few weapons here, but sticking to this setup for now. Clean Rod Rapier with Thunderbolt is annoying, so why not use it? Once again, I've got nothing against this Phantom, however he did subscribe to what the host is doing. Got a panic roll a bit seeing host gliding around, using a sleep pod to retreat so someone gets built up walking through it. Barrier of Gold seems like a necessity at 200, because everyone runs a magic build, and they got no real alternative because all good spells do pure magic damage. Once again, because this setup is stupid, Phantom dies in just 2 L1s, but I'm not gonna complain about it here. One revenge bug, and now I can swap to some other setup. Opting for Sword Spear because it does absolutely filthy damage with 80 dex. On top of that, I can buff it with Order Blade. Just R1 out of neutral is not a good idea with this weapon, so I've put a Piercing Fang on it. What's nice is, jumping R2 into R1 is a true combo, and a great heal punish. Spirit Caller invasions are always either a banger or a garbage. I expected this guy to be alone, which is obviously a mistake in Elden Ring invasions. Seems like we got just a bit of latency to make it visible. It wouldn't stop me from going to a Lion's Claw backstab, but it's pretty risky. This move always seems unreliable to backstab. I'm not playing well right now. Keep falling for that rolling attack. And here comes the Phantom. Now take a look. A talisman effect means something is dying, so possibly there's another in the level. Let's look at this beautiful latency moment in slow motion. Somehow I missed the fall and miraculously survive. They don't give chase, so I reset and used another weapon, and I do not feel bad about this one. Look, there's another phantom. Almost like those two clear the level, while host stays behind. I have split the VOD, because nobody wants to watch me searching for them. By the way, on top of having that stupid Ash of War, Sacred Relic Sword is longest greatsword. In my opinion, they should reduce the wave damage at length. Anyway, I reckon I covered most of my commentary, so now I can talk about the lore for a while. There's very little known about Saint Trina, so first I would refer to some cut content, even though it's not a good practice. From soft cut content is a case in Why the fuck would they cut it? It was literally finished. Anyhow, there was a huge traveling merchant quest. As you probably know, all those wandering merchants are inflicted by Flame of Frenzy. What happens to them, as referred by one of them, is their identity blends into one.
The cursed flame burns inside our eyelids, corroding the lines that separate us. That's what the instrument is for. The timbre of its song calms the flame, however slightly, caressing, gently, so that we don't blend together. Our song derives from an old lullaby, sung for us long ago, deep inside our tomb, but whoever it was sings no longer. Its melody allowed us to sleep, despite the cursed flame.
After talking to more merchants and following them, at that point of the quest, you would be able to collect a dream mist that is related to Saint Trina of Cradle Song.
Could I ask you to do something for us? Use this crystal ball to find us dream mist. Go up to someone sleeping and use it. Any dream mist you collect is sure to fetch a fine price. From me, or one of my brothers. Not a bad arrangement, eh?
So Carly needs it to calm the flame in order to prevent the individuality blending together. What actually remains in the game is a note about Mikila's needle right at the Frenzied Flame prescription. The needle supposedly goes into one's eye to resist the influence of outer gods, and it also holds your sense of self. The whole deal with Saint Trina and Mikila is a little ambiguous. Another piece of cut content is a dialogue saying, "Finally, I found Saint Trina, no, Lord Mikila's cadaver." But let's talk about what's actually in the game. There is a Saint Trina linked cookbook that teaches you to craft a witching branch that is blessed with an incantation of unalloyed gold and directly related to Mikila. Archers in Ordina, before the Haligtree, drop Saint Trina's arrows. Saint Trina's sword says that people are not in agreement over Saint Trina's gender. Some think she is a girl, others think he's a boy. It fits Mikila being forever a child and kinda androgynous. Saint Trina's torch says that the depiction of Trina as an adult is unnerving, possibly because they are forever young. And finally, Clean Lord Knights drop Trina's lilies. By the way, in real life, named after a Greek nymph, the water lily is a symbol of beauty, but can also have a dangerous side, which fits Mikila being the most dangerous Empyrean. Last piece I'd like to add is that Trina's lilies are vibrant and growing, while Mikila's lilies are wilted and dying, and almost having tree-like features. If Marika now represents life and Golden Order, and Malekith represents death, then the direct twin offspring of Marika represent aspects of being alive, dying and growing. What you find is that they are both corrupted. Instead of dying or decaying, it's a supernatural changing rot. For Mikila, he loses growth an unsteady static trapped in youth forever. And that should be all I wanted to cover on the lore. Now, this is a final invasion clip that is absolute mess of spam, proper for level 200. I'd say this range is 150 on crack, however I did not encounter Grace Goblins a lot, or meta setups, aside from myself. Barrier of Gold has been a saving grace, and honestly, it's hard to return to 60 or even 80 now. The Ancient Death Ranger has obnoxiously long hit stun for how spammable it is. Anyway, I hope you liked the clips, and I'll see you sometime soon.